everybody. Welcome to the Podcast Cast, first actual play. My name is Insuling.
I'm Mark.
And I am Jared.
And I'm Jack. Hello.
Hello, Jack. Welcome to our podcast. Everybody, Jack is going to be joining us on our actual play as we go on an adventure through the Exalted setting as we have redesigned it. This has been a pretty big project for the last month, wherein we got derailed on trying to play it because Exalted is this snarled mess of a game, and I decided that it would just be easier if I just made my own game instead of trying to house rule theirs. So, here we go. Again, don't buy their product. So how you guys doing tonight?
Wonderful as always.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Good. So, I've laid out a scene beforehand, and we can get into it, but I have shown the players what they're dealing with, a list of problems that are all under a challenge, and the goal of this setting, or of this session, will be to figure out if the setting, or if the game that I've made is equally snarled, if it needs to be fixed, if it needs something else. So we're mostly going to be focusing on playing through it and seeing if it's interesting and fun to do. And then future games will be a little bit more role-playing, a little bit more, well, hopefully better.
Yeah, this whole episode is going to be us testing the system, seeing what needs to be fixed, what needs to be more powerful, that type of stuff. While, like you said, next episodes will be more role-play heavy and, hopefully we'll get the gist of everything.
True. Alright, so, your characters have already embarked on the mission that they will be assigned after the first session. You are somewhat in media res. You're on your ship. You're leading a colonization fleet, heading out toward the blasted, ruined landscape that is whatever is left of the last wild hunt. It was successful. The warriors who left for that wild hunt returned with stories of spoils, of strange lands, of landscapes that defy logic. And it is up to the brave people of the Blessed Isle to go out and colonize those lands in order to ensure that they stay held within the creation's grasp, lest the fair folk return to dig their claws into that land and twist it towards their inconceivable designs. You find yourselves riding on one of the main currents, heading out west, into the nigh endless oceans. When you left, the sun was at your back in the early morning, and although it should be high above head, the clouds have strangled out the unconquered sun's gaze, leaving you all in a hopeless shadow. You find yourselves looking over the edge of your boat as the waves grow higher, threatening to reach over the railings and drag hapless crew members overboard. Luckily, your crews are in tip-top condition. They are prepared for this. Everybody was well aware that you're going towards the west, perhaps one of the most treacherous directions. Without even a hint of land within sight, you find yourselves in the middle of a growing issue as the seas grow hungry. Ark,
Yes.
What is your character doing?
My character is currently looking out into the sea while reading a book. And say if, a crewman makes a mistake, he will shout at them.
All right.
He's directing the crew while also reading, writing, that type of thing.
So, smash cut to Ark's character, and it says that his name is displayed. What is your character's name?
Trench.
Trench's name is displayed. so for all to see as I struggle to spell it on my sheet. And as a crewman is apparently loafing around slightly more than he's willing to accept, he points out and shouts that crewman's name. Would you like to pick a name from the crewman list to shout?
Yes. I would like to pick out Tiggs. Tiggs, get back in line!
Tiggs gives a rushed salute, and in so doing almost lets go of the rope that he's holding, but manages to grasp it tight and draw it as he does sailing things. I was going to talk to my dad about sailing, but I didn't. He knows a lot more than I do. But I do know some terms. For instance, a wave washes over the ship from the port side. That's the left side. And does indeed almost drag Tiggs overboard. But luckily, you were able to get his attention back on the job and get him going. Now, Jack, where's your character in this?
So the waves are picking up. Suslin's going to be working with Ammon and Delan and Zohar up on the mast, reefing the sail to half sail, just to stop it from getting knocked down.
All right, cool. So as you're all struggling with that, a bolt of lightning strikes down and hits the mast. Everybody,
Suslin decided that it doesn't.
awesome.
Suslin, for a brief moment, Suslin takes his hand off the mast, just grasping it with his feet, and it looks like there's threads in front of him, and he runs his hands across the thread. And as the bolt connects, it's suddenly not hitting the mast. Instead, it's hitting off to the side of the ship in the waves. And then he just goes back to his stuff, just like nothing ever happened.
A bolt of lightning hits the ocean, and for a moment you can see down into those black depths. And there's something under you that disappears under the ocean, under the seas, and then the crack of thunder. Deafening, roaring. And as the thunder rolls away, something, whatever is under you, continues to rumble. Jarrett, there we go. Jarrett, where is your character in this?
Okay, well, is my character seeing the thing that's coming up from the ground?
Do you want to be?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, sorry. I forgot to do the zoom in. Camera quickly zooms in on Jack's character. Jack, what's it?
Suslin, he's helping.
And it says, Suslin, he's a helper. Jarrett, so crack of thunder, sea monster under the boat. What is your character doing?
Okay, so Nico, he's going to see this, and he was working next to Tig up until now. Nothing stand out about him, but he sees this and kind of growls a bit, like not like an animal growl, but just like he's angry, and he is going to leap off the side of the boat. And as he does, his skin kind of peels around, revealing a bunch of fingers from literally every part of him as he twists into a centipede made of human hands as the symbol of the Chosen of Luna burns above him. And he's going to and he's just going to slam underground with his leg, like under the water with his leg, and just stab it through the stab whatever is underneath him.
All right.
He's not dealing right now.
I wonder what caste you are.
So it snap zoom into Nico as he's pointing mouth agape in a rage at this monster that would dare to swim under their ship, and it says, "I've got it." Nico, I've got it.
And they fear.
Scene begins to roll again as he leaps overboard. The crew cheers. So, it seems like you all have somewhat chosen some or have a choice of problems to attack.
All right.
Listeners can't really see these problems yet, but I don't know. I might post a screenshot or something when we post the recording.
Yeah.
So, you may all pick a problem that you wish to attack.
Well,
The angry sea god has the distant, what am I calling it? Disposition, which means that you can't deal with it unless you have an ability that would allow you to deal with it. And currently, the angry sea god is not present, or not visibly present.
got ya.
Mhm.
Okay, so I guess starting with Nico, he is going to again his multiples of his arms kind of stretch out to be about 12 feet along at each edge. The fingers turn into knives, and he's going to begin stabbing
Jesus.
and tearing and ripping, and his aura bursts out. So like he's gone full totemic at this point. He's going to activate his one. He's going to activate overcome surpass expectations
Okay.
to roll 3 dice instead of 2,
All right.
and costs a mote. And so he's now glowing with aura. The water around him is turning like to blood. He's not dealing with this.
Super rad.
Yes. He rolled 2 6s and a 4.
All right.
Wait,
So that
I'm
that
gonna
is
get 2 6s. That is, I believe, a critical hit, right?
it. Sure is. So
Oh,
you
God.
you ignore its resistance, and you have its defense is 14, and I assume that your ability to do violence while rolling a 12 will beat a 14, correct?
Yeah. When he rolls a 12, it counts as a 24 for him.
Oh,
When you factor in his bio arms and his natural skill as a fighter,
oh goodness.
it does 12 damage
Oh
or 12
god.
stress.
So you leap into the water and you do indeed stab the the sea monster, and a part of it reaches out from under, and then slowly sinks as you felled this unknowable monster in a
Jesus.
single blow.
Okay, yeah. So as he does that, he leaps back out of the water casually. He's still, of course, burning with the symbol of Luna.
All right.
And he's still like a bunch of hands, and like on each individual hand on the front side there's a mouth that's laughing, and on the back side there's a blinking eye that's looking around on every single hand on his body, which he has like 50 of right now. And yeah, he's just gonna go and start grabbing ropes and pulling them, and he has a lot of hands, so he can do a lot of tasks at once, and
Beautiful.
he's gonna work with the crew now.
Way to be a helping hand, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to go next? First come, first serve. You have dealt 3 stress to the challenge out of 8.
All right.
The sea monster was supposed to be the big thing, and you crushed it.
So is it still alive, or
No, it's dead.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
dead.
super dead. It was atrocityed.
Where
Listeners,
did it go?
listeners, if you don't know, a group of several different types of Exalted is known as an atrocity of Exalted, whereas a group of similar types of Exalted are known as a circle of Exalted. It's very accurate.
All right. Well, I mean, so we've dealt with the sea god.
No,
Oh no, you don't want to see monster. The god is still
Sea
there.
monster. Okay. Well, I can buff you guys. Yeah. Do you think I should buff you guys?
We have look. Here's the thing. Right now, we have wind. We have different problems still. We have wind,
Yeah. You have
waves.
Yeah, you're
we have 2 wave problems.
Can we change one of those waves problems to lightning? I'd
Yeah,
like to deal
sure.
with lightning with my turn.
Yeah, I can do that. There you go.
That we're rapidly
Thank you.
approaching. So
The-
how are you
the-
going to go?
The idea of like having 2 different wave problems is that it's like two wave problems that are doing slightly different things. Well,
Ah, okay.
but yeah. So you do have navigational issues now. Navigational issues has a power. If an actor takes an action that would inflict stress on this problem, but fails to do so, or they attempt to inflict stress on another problem, then inflict 1 stress to that actor. So, Nico suffers 1 stress as just the ship is continuing to be blown off course. Like the maps just aren't lining up.
Gotcha.
it's a little bit like a ticking clock, but it's more of a ticking clock that goes against you all, as opposed to the ticking clock action, which generally brings in new problems.
Well, I guess
Would you like me to go first then and try to deal with that? Because that sounds like something that my character should be.
yeah, you could. Because I was thinking about attacking the reefs.
Yeah, okay, that would. Yeah, you can deal with the reefs, and I'll try to deal with the navigational issues.
All right.
If I'm lucky with my attack roll, that is. Okay, so Sussland will go next. Rolling knowledge plus patience. I'm going to use Surpass Expectations charm.
Okay.
Basically, sorry, I'm going to use knowledge to hit. And I'm going to attempt to weave our fate so that we stay on the path that we have chosen. I'm not going to let our fate change and be blown from our path.
Super rad.
What's its defense?
Defense 15.
And I've got 4 plus 5 is 9 plus 6 is...
That matches.
50.
That does it.
And that's a crit because it's 2 3s.
Okay.
Or 2 3s and a 4. So...
And you're only taking the 2 3s, right?
Yeah, because,
Okay,
hey,
cool.
that
Yep.
hits and it's a crit.
Yep.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah, the taking a lower numbers for crits later on might be a good idea for, like, yeah, this thing has a resistance of 8. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, I'll take the crit and just ignore all that. That's nonsense. All right.
And yeah, I believe I'd be doing like 8 damage to this, so I think it should crash it
Yeah,
straight away.
it's your might plus your specialty and just damage straight away. So for
yeah.
So listeners understand what's going on here. So 2 crits were rolled. A crit is when you roll your dice, typically 2d6, unless you use a charm called Surpass Expectations, in which you can roll an additional one. You only ever keep 2 of your dice, unless you're using another effect that says otherwise, which there is one charm like that. When you roll your dice, if at least 2 of those dice come up as the same number, and you choose those 2 dice to apply to your roll, then that is a critical roll, or a critical hit. And that means that you ignore the resistance stat of that problem. Otherwise, the resistance would reduce the amount of stress that you inflict on the problem. Now, since I'm dealing with some real supermen here, they're just destroying my problems left and right. I'm going to have to make these much stronger on session 1. It's going to be so good, but I'm having so much fun with this right now. Alright, so you did it. You crashed the navigational issues. You looked up and you said, nah, that's not happening. And the waves are still hitting you. The lightning is still striking. You can see that the ships behind you are having a hard time, but they're able to follow the beacon that your ship has installed on its
Prow.
keel. No, yeah, prow. On the keel. That's the place we put a light, right, people? Every sailor who's listening to us just cringed. I'm sorry. Again, I asked my dad for sailing stories, and then I had to go home before he could think of any good ones. So, navigational issues crashed. They will no longer inflict stress on you all for ignoring them. And that was representing your ships just being casually blown further and further off course. So, now we're up to Trench. But so we just discovered that Jarrett is a cheater.
He's a fudger.
Yeah.
Cheaters.
That's how it happened, yeah.
This sea monster is gonna kill him so hard
Sweet.
if it gets a turn.
I'm so sorry.
So he did his math wrong, listeners. He added 5 and 5 and got 12, but thought he said 10. Luckily, our new listener Jack, our new player Jack,
I'm so sorry.
busted him like the
I'm so sorry.
like the astute Canadian gentleman that he is.
Ah.
As you can hear his Canadian war cries of "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry."
Oh dear. Okay.
Oh, speaking of which, since this is just a thing my character can do, he has a charm called Endure.
Mhm.
So he's just going to heal back up the damage he took, the stress he just took from the wandering off course. As he, because that charm is, let me double check. Yeah, he's going to tie into his immaculate training for a bit and like recenter himself. And like he was starting, because of the wandering off course, he was starting to lose his bearings at sea a little bit. And he's going to use his immaculate training to like go back into a Zen state and heal the stress.
Your immaculate training, but Jarrett, aren't you a lunar?
Yes, I'm a lunar immaculate.
What?
What?
How is that possible?
This is gonna. God, the viewers are gonna have so many questions that aren't going to be answered till we do the pre-log, till we do after this session where we're doing characters and.
I'm
story.
sorry, you'll have to find out next episode.
Indeed.
And
Keep
cut.
keep listening. Oh no. All right, so
He spends two more. He spends 2 motes, and he's gonna go and so he recenters himself and he gets that stress back.
all right, cool. Now, Trench, what are you up to?
All right, so upon seeing this, Trench, he is going to rub his hands together and then slam his hands on the ship floor, and I'm going to cast Roots Bind with Stone. It's an instant. This charm allows the character to bind their elemental nature into their vehicles and mounts, improving one of their specialties by 1 per mote spent up to my essence rating. And I'm basically going to turn our ship into a fire ship.
A fire ship?
A
That
fire
sounds
ship, yes,
super rad.
it is. And after that, so after the ship turns into flames, I am going to, number 1, put my specialty up into Good Leader. So I have a 6 dot specialty.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to, what's the word?
Wait, how do you have a 6-dot specialty?
5 dot.
I have a 5 dot specialty, but I get a +1 specialty to, from the
things
charm.
dealing with the elements. You're right.
Oh,
You
yep,
have the
there you go.
Yeah, so cool. And I am going to try to direct my crewmen to successfully not die in the reefs, if that makes sense. Like,
Basically, you're just gonna like you basically made your boat burst into
Into flames.
And are you just going to use it like a heat cutter to
yes, that's what I'm trying to.
torch your way through the reef?
Yeah.
Cool.
Just like burst through it out to the other side, cutting a path for the other ships to follow.
Yes.
I just made a ship entry under your crew tab. So I'll let you pick 3 specialties. You can see I put 1, 2, and 3. I rated 1 as a 4 and 2 as a 3. And then, so vehicles can go above 3 because they're not mortals. Like vehicles and mounts, rather. And so when you use a vehicle or a mount, you use your attribute, and then you use the vehicle or mount's specialty. And so as a 4-3-3, your ship is fairly impressive, but not quite like super amazing artifact endgame ship.
Yeah. Okay.
You have the Hildegard, 2, but not the 3. But I'll just say the specialty 1 applies to whatever you're doing. You don't have to name it right now. So yeah, so I basically made a tab where I listed 20 crew members and just gave them all names. And so you heard him saying a few names: Amon, Dolan, Zolhar, Tiggs. Tiggs' son is also there. You have Springs Lightly, Rem Dan de Ray, Volcano, Whisper, Hard Stream, Rolling Fog, Squall, Gleeful Wave, Ash, Clint, Diego, Huxley, Grog. I'm a big Vandal Hearts fan. I didn't put Eleni on this crew because she's going to be a character elsewhere. So was Kira. Have you found what you were looking for?
Yeah, I'm going to like take my ram
Okay.
and just crash it through.
All right. Awesome.
Laser cutter.
Yeah, like a laser cutter.
The ship just gets engulfed in elemental fury, and just and there's steam everywhere, and
Take this, the environment. All right, roll those bones. I assume that as gamers, you're using dice made of like pure bone.
I'm using dice made out of pure diamonds.
Oh.
4 and a 4.
Seriously?
4 and a 4, yeah,
All right, so another critical.
in my attributes.
So
Your attribute-
it's your power attribute plus whatever specialty you've decided to apply to it, and you don't have to add the dice or anything. It's just a specialty plus the attribute.
So it's specialty plus 5, plus 5 plus 1?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's,
Yeah, because
20.
your intrinsic charm should be adding 1 to all your attributes. Is
yeah,
basically what
it's a
it does.
20.
20? What?
I rolled 2 4s, so that's an 8.
Oh no,
plus 5.
you don't add the dice to the damage or to the stress.
No, he's rolling to hit.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that hits. The defense is 16, so
Okay.
you did it.
Ooh, I did it.
That was actually a slightly higher defense roll too, or defense stat. All right, the damage will be your attribute plus your specialty.
My attribute plus my specialty. Okay.
You could use a different specialty for it as well. I'm still not sure how we want to do specialties because originally, listeners, I was gonna have it be like slots. Like you enter into a challenge and you say, "These are my 3 specialties for this. These are 3 specialties for this, and these are 3 specialties for this." Like for your attributes that you're using. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that. But are you guys doing that right now?
Say again?
Are you
Yeah.
guys like slotting in
said-
your specialties? Yeah. Okay. We're not doing that. That's fine.
Oh, okay. I have actually been doing that, so I. Yeah. Okay.
Well, you know what? You keep doing it, and then we can see how that works. Like,
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry, it's a 5 and a 6, so 11.
all right, you've
So 11
destroyed.
damage.
You've just cleaved your way clean into the into the reef. I mean, this is gonna be damage that is just like this ocean may never fully recover. I hope you're proud of yourself.
I am.
But as you do so, you can hear the roar of an angry god.
I drew him out.
As the god worsens the storms around you, creating one small problem. Small problems are basically problems that are like kind of too small to individually be dealt with. Although in the future I may have a ability that basically lets you just say, I attack the small problems and deal with them. But what the small problems do is they add the number of small problems to the stats of all of the other problems that you're dealing with. So now instead of the instead of the wind, waves, and lightning having an offensive 8, they're all offensive 9s. So now I'm gonna roll my dice.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, because it's my turn. I hope you're all ready to die.
This is what you get, players.
This is what you get for playing games, players. your game master goes into a god complex. All right, so I'm gonna roll the wind, waves, and lightning first. Wind and waves have an ability that is you roll once and you compare that roll to everybody's defense or all the actors' defenses. On a success, or for anybody who it succeeds against, they suffer 1 stress, and if it crits, then it inflicts a condition related to the problem. So, let's see what happens. That is a 3 and a 5, so an 8. So, who here's defense is 16, or is 15 or less?
Me.
That's it?
I am. I also think.
Yeah, I am,
trenches.
too.
Yeah, we're all.
Alright, everybody suffer 1 stress.
We're all babies.
Alright, second attack. 8, 9, 10, here's defenses 11 or less.
Oh, what is the attack going off of? Is this on Constitution or is this off of the combat or the
It's
action stat?
it's whichever 3 attributes you decided to use in
Okay.
dealing with the problem.
Gotcha. Then yes, I am. Actually, hang on. 11 or less?
Yes. It roll is 12.
I'm affected too.
Same.
Just let me double check my stuff out. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember because I know we add on bonus for when we're doing our character or when we're calculating order defense. I'm
Oh,
trying to remember how much that is.
Gonna scroll up. and not have dead air.
Sorry.
Character growth. 4 virtues. Guys, you guys haven't even had to spend virtues yet.
Nope.
No.
No, I've been saving it.
Defense plus specialty plus 5.
Defense plus specialty plus 5. So that means that in this specific situation, I actually do have greater than 12 or than 11 defense. I've actually
Awesome.
got 12 defense. So probably easier if we just mark that down actually what our defenses are, and then you don't have to keep asking us.
Yeah, probably. Just go ahead and write them next to your characters' names on the problem sheet.
Okay.
But the second one rolled a crit. So, it inflicts what's called a condition. This is the waves. So, you're all being tossed and turned as the condition. The name doesn't really matter. But until the end of your next action, you lose access to one of your highest specialties. Just pick one
Okay.
as you're jostled around.
Question, what if we have a specialty that can't be lost that's the highest?
Then your next highest one.
Yeah.
So this hits us even through our defense? Just checking?
You do not. You actually, yeah, you're right. You do not. I was reading the text and it doesn't say, so I'll update that text.
Okay. Sorry.
Actually, let me put a note in there because we're playtesting, and I want to actually fix problems as they come up. Attributes, challenges, problems.
I was actually going to ask, does resistance actually do anything here?
What do you mean?
Resistance ones, because we've been taking like stress from all these places, but our resistance hasn't come up at all yet.
Yeah,
Our resistance is our damage that we do.
it's supposed to be power, not resistance.
On my character sheet, it's damage because
I'm so confused. What?
So player characters have an accuracy, or they have an offense, a defense, and a power attribute,
damage.
which is your damage. And then, so your offense is what you add when you roll to hit something. Your defense is what designates what problems have to roll to see whether or not they hit you. And then the power stat determines how much damage that you deal to the problem. Problems have an offense, a defense, and a resistance, because problems typically deal a set amount of stress whenever they hurt you, or whenever they affect you. It's, if they deal stress, they deal X amount of stress. Oh, also, everybody who was affected by the turbulent seas, that was the first roll, take 1 additional stress. Because it has a power that says when this problem would inflict stress on an actor, inflict 1 additional stress.
And our stress total is always 5, right?
It is.
Okay.
And never fear, going below 5 or going to 5 stress means that you clear out your stress, and then you exhaust a virtue, and then you keep on fighting. 1 step closer to limit break. I don't know, maybe I'll get to test out limit break tonight. Alright, I rolled a 1 and a 5 for the lightning. Roll once against all actors. For all actors whose defense is met or beaten, inflict a condition upon them. So, who here has a defense less than 14? I think everybody does. Everybody suffers 1 additional condition from the lightning as it flashes and blinds you all. Blinds you, deafens you. It's a real nightmare. Now we're going to the angry sea god, which already acted. It produced a small problem. It has another ability where it can recover 1 stress box to a problem. Actually, it will use that on the sea monster. It goes down to 9 stress instead of 12 because Jarrett was a cheater.
Hey.
All right, dangerous currents. They activate. They deal 1 stress to everybody, but it's not a critical hit. They also don't have a supplemental ability, so it's just 1 stress.
I am at 1 stress.
Same.
Alright. Now, the sea monster. The sea monster lashes out at, where you go? lashes out at Nico. It's tentacles, teeth, crab claws. It's a super rad sea monster fight that nobody can see because it's underwater. But it's definitely happening. Someone's looking overboard going, oh man, I bet that looks amazing because the water is literally turning into blood down there. It's not that there's blood in the water, it is blood. When this problem successfully hits an actor, the problem may roll again at -1. If it hits, then it inflicts 1 stress on the target. Repeat this until the attack roll misses. This is why you don't tank your defense stat. So I'm going to roll until it misses. So 1, 2, that's 7, plus 8.
What is your defense stat, Jared?
14 is my defense. I have a really high defense.
Actually, shouldn't we all have ignored that earlier, that second hit? We should have all been at 2 stress before this thing attacked you, I think.
Not that one, because I only have a 10 defense for the for everything else.
Yeah, but according to what I was understanding from in Sullying, we just use whatever we are currently got active, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you'd be using the 14 defense anyway, as I understand it.
Yeah, it's fine. I might actually just reduce attributes to just 3 things. I'm really considering that.
Okay.
But, you know, we could, because it's like having 3 different ones just makes this feel clunky. Because it's like, well, which attribute are you using? Well, now you're getting attacked by this different kind of thing, so
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
which defense are you using? Man, I don't know.
Yeah, so Nico is he's at 14 defense right now.
Okay, so that's 2 that hit, 3 hit. That's 9 plus.
He's crashed. He doesn't have any more stress.
Mark a box, I guess?
Okay, so it will hit you a total of 3 times. So when you crash, you so it's crash your stress. So now you clear your stress boxes, and you exhaust one of your virtues. So you can't access that virtue until you have either gone through a limit break or defeated a challenge.
Can he choose which one to exhaust?
Yes. Some problems will have a thing saying, if this crashes somebody, then this is the virtue that's marked off, which is why it kind of matters where you put your virtues.
Oh, so can't we just access our things anyway by spending limit or gaining limit or?
No, I've changed how limit works.
Oh, okay.
Now limit is a
All
thing
right.
that just happens to you instead of a thing that you put yourself into. So
Oh, okay.
So this thing is going to deal a total of 3 stress. So basically, it just wraps around, and it's like it what is it? It maxes out your stress, you clear it out, and then it deals however many more.
So basically, he got a pretty solid hit on me.
Yeah. I like how that rule works. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then let's see. I think Dangerous Currents already went. They did. I don't think they hit anybody, or they might have hit you guys. I don't remember. But I think that's all my problems. Now it's
Hey.
your guys' show.
Well, I guess Nico's gonna go first here. Nico is not feeling good. He is not. He is not in a state of bliss. This is not his Zen state right now. So Nico is going to deal with the problem. One, Nico is going to, and this is an instant effect that he can just activate. He's going to heal a stress as basically like, I imagine it kind of grabbed him and pulled him underwater and like bit him with like its sea monster teeth and stuff.
Yeah, it's this big sea monster. Some of them are like spinning and stuff, like drills. It's pretty rad. Again, it's super amazing, but it's like conveniently under the water, so we don't have to pay for the special effects.
Nice. And he's like getting torn up, and his body kind of gets torn up the way a normal humans would.
Mhm.
And then there's like a surge of essence as he spends 2 essence to activate. And also it's the start of his turn, so he gets 2 essence. So he's at 10 again.
Yep.
He's spend 2 essence to activate and heal a stress, as like the wounds just start picking themselves back together and reassigning themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's also going to activate Surpass Expectations, and and then he's going to channel a virtue. He's going to channel his.
Jesus
He's going to
Christ.
channel his conviction to kill this thing.
Okay.
And after 3, so right now he rolls 3 dice. Let's see, we got oh god. Okay, well, he did good again. Okay, he rolled a 6, and a 3.
Oh, great.
And factoring in his things, that's 6, which rolls up with his thing, so 16, 17, 18, 19. He got a 19, all things considered.
Oh, yeah. That beats his defensive 14.
My oh my.
Yeah, and then it does 10 damage to it.
Blah.
He just.
I mean, honestly, you didn't even need to hit to kill it, as I understand, because even on a miss, you'd have done 5 damage, and 5 damage, I think, would have killed it.
Oh, super dead. But
Yeah,
but now
he basically,
super dead.
He kind of stretches his arms up to grab different limbs because he has like 100 hands right now because he's in like centipede state.
Just to clarify, listeners, these are arms that are made of hands.
Yeah, arms also made of hands. Stretches each arm like 100 feet in every direction and just like almost like a really badly taught kid would, like ripping the arms off of a spider.
Oh yeah, it's super brutal, super awesome. Like there's this whole scene, but like it's all being like described by somebody who's looking overboard, like, oh man, and then he's like ripping its arms off. That's like a kid with a spider, but like nobody could see it under there because we don't want to pay for the special effects.
Yeah, and it's dead this time, right?
It's what?
It's dead this time, right?
Oh, super dead.
Yeah, so he leaps back up onto the top. As when he jumps into the water, because again we don't want to pay for the special effects, he turns back into a normal person. So he jumps up. At this point, his anima is bannering all over the place because he's spending tons of essence.
Yeah, that's easy to do. That's just a spotlight effect.
Yeah, and he has his cast mark, and he's running around now, doing things, jumping around. He's helping.
Super rad. All right, who wants to go next? You need to deal 3 more stress to the challenge.
Quick question: how hard would it be to actually make our way over to the Angry Sea God in a boat? How far away is distant? Like,
distant basically means that it's the sea god is not corporeal. He's in his godly state. So if you have a charm that say allows you to affect the gods or to affect spirits and things.
wait, don't you have something like that, Jarrett?
Oh, I can see spirits. They glow when they're around me, and I can punch them in the mouth, no matter what state they're in.
What range is it?
I think the punch one, so long as I can... it depends on how physically far away this god is. If he's flying around the ship, messing with things, and using his god powers, and just incorporeal so we can't see him, he'll just be, like... I guess since this is something that's happening, Nico will activate, and this is an instant effect, so he doesn't need to worry about stuff. But let me double check, actually.
Because if you can defeat the sea god, then everything else will calm down. I mean, that just...
incorporeal creatures around him. Basically, he's going to spend... mote. Yeah, he's going to spend 2 motes, commit them, and activate his... 8, 6... Okay. Yeah, he's going to spend 2 motes and activate this thing that basically lets him... Like, he can see incorporeal entities, and they are also highlighted to everyone else.
That's super cool, and I also don't remember if we scrubbed the copyright off the name of the charm.
So... Oh no, we haven't scrubbed it off at all.
Yeah, okay, good job not saying it. We don't want to get sued by, that one company that you should not buy their material.
So the aura kind of emanates off of him, and this weird, like, it's blue, but it's also red, and it's also violet, and it's also that one dream you used to have that you've forgotten but now remember.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's Sea God's remembering.
Yeah, and when he hit, and when wherever he is, when he touches that aura, it sticks to him, and he catches on blue fire. And to everyone else, he's just like standing out as this flickering aura flame. That's obviously a person standing there if he's there.
Super rad.
So I have an idea. Now that we can see it and I think attack it, actually affect it, I'm going to, just for testing purposes, try out my strongest attack. Would you mind helping me out with that?
Of course.
Ark?
No.
What I need you to do is I need you to order your crew to attack the ghost. spirit, the angry god.
All right. So,
Okay, so before you do that, I have to take my action.
Sure.
Sussland spends a brief moment, burns 5 motes, half his stock, and for a brief moment, there's a tiny little halo that forms around his head for a brief moment. As for a brief moment, the sky splits and everyone can see the stars shifting just a little bit before everything returns to normal, before the clouds once again close over. But nothing else seems to happen. I'm using my charm aligning the stars and hitting trench
yes, Trench.
with it. Sorry, I was thinking, wait, that can't be. Oh, okay. Go trench.
All right. So I was thinking of doing Seas Ravage Mountains, which basically you infuse allies under your command with your elemental might. Choose one of their specialties and grant a bonus to their attack rolls equal to your essence rating, so 1.
Okay.
So it would cost 2 motes, but it's until my next turn. Would you guys like that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna actually attack this thing, right?
Yeah,
Well, he's gonna buff me, and then I'll attack it.
I cannot attack.
I'm the only one with a charm that lets you attack incorporeal creatures. All the first charms,
Well-
you guys.
Well, your crew could also attack it.
Yeah.
But do they have ways of attacking something that's incorporeal?
I mean, are you making it targetable, or is it only you can affect it?
I can target it now.
Okay.
But
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I'm not doing that then, because by the time it comes around again, everyone will have taken a lot of damage. So that's kind of never mind. That's not going to work. Okay, can we retcon back a few seconds? Because I thought Art could attack
Yeah,
it now. That
of
you
course.
Made it visible.
okay,
Because
so,
I'm a good GM who doesn't say things like, "No, you said you did it." Screw you, people who do that.
So, question: what's this guy look like? What is this thing? Where is it?
Oh, this is like an angry woman who's like, I don't know, mad that there are pretty people on your boat. The writers, I guess this is a thing that people used to say was a thing.
We're on its sacred ground.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh man, you're like destroying my reef. What is your problem? What is your deal? I hate everything."
Okay,
She
so
she shouts, "I am the sea," and then like big octopus tentacles start coming out of her face. It's also kind of cool, but like the camera doesn't stay on her too long because it like shifts back to your crew because
Okay,
every
I'm
second of
gonna-
CGI is expensive.
I'm going to do something completely different then. I'm going to activate Twin Fates, which hopefully you don't think is OP, because I just wrote it up as we were talking.
I don't
So.
know. You feel free to add these to the doc under
Yeah,
the
okay,
Severe
I'll
Charms,
do that later.
and then put them like make them bold and italic because then like when I scroll through looking for things to change, I look for bold italic things.
Gotcha. So I activate Twin Fates, and I tie the problems of wind and waves together. I twist their threads of fate together in the weave, and then I proceed to just try to make them not be windy, not be wavy. Because the wind's causing the waves, I'm just going to deal with them both at the same time.
Okay.
The
Are
way
you-
I've written up the charm, it costs 5 essence, which I think is a lot.
That's
And
a pretty hefty charm.
And what it does, in effect, is that I roll, and if I succeed in beating both of their defenses, I deal damage to both of them.
Yeah, that sounds super awesome. I love it. I
And they
like,
have to be thematically linked, so it can't be, oh, I hit the god and I hit the waves. No, or
Yeah,
you get
that's-
the idea.
that-
It has to be.
that's perfect. As you were saying it, I was like, oh man, if I don't like this, I know what charm I'm gonna tell him to write up. And then you just said the thing I was thinking. I'm like, good for you, Jack. You did it.
Okay, and I'll make an attack roll. Sorry, I'm using. I rolled before I said I was using it.
It's fine.
That's probably not going to matter.
You're using whatever numbers you need. You're planning on using. It's okay.
You know what? We'll just say because I don't like going back too much, and I've already done that once. I'm not going to do this, but I believe 16 hits both of them, right?
It sure does.
And I deal 8 stress to both of them, and this is not a crit.
So.
But I still think that crashes both of them.
It sure does.
So yes, I just turn off the wind and the waves because I'm not dealing with that.
So you still have the lightning, the dangerous current, and this angry sea goddess who's got an octopus face. She's up there. Now it's just dealing with, like, shadow effects because she's the wind and the waves are kind of dying down, and so the moon is coming, or the sun is coming out because it's still daylight. It's
Wait, where did the stars that I aligned come? No, that never happened. That never happened.
well, the stars are always there. And,
I know, I'm making a joke. I'm sorry.
And I'm
sorry.
actually thinking that the effect was like the clouds parted and it was like daylight outside, but then the stars could still be visible in that blue sky, because that sounds amazing.
It does. Okay. Anyway, either way, yeah, that's my turn. I've crashed 2 more problems.
All right.
And
Was that?
Ark.
Yep. What is Suslin doing?
No, I'm Sussland. He's Trench.
What is Trench doing?
I just have a question. So, since Jack, didn't do that, I still did the Seas Ravage Mountains.
Okay, so I'm still like, what element did you give me?
I gave you
Let me see how that works. Terrestrial.
Oh.
See.
wood.
Yeah, wood.
All right, yeah.
So
wood.
just so you know, allies means like vehicles and like allies, not player characters.
Oh, okay. I thought when it says infuse.
Wait, you also have one to give someone a temporary boost for a single turn that counts everyone. Like you get a specific ability just for buffing other players.
Do have
Like,
that.
You have the ability to mutate people.
Begging the
but you-
dragons.
Begging of Dragons, you impart up to your essence
Yeah,
rating to a
that's
number
the-
of dots in a specialty related to your elemental nature. Targeting a number of mortals.
Yeah, that's not the one. The other one.
Um,
You got 2 buff powers.
Well, he was trying to use Seas Ravage Mountains. I might actually change Begging the Dragons, because the whole point is I don't want players to just be able to just stack up their numbers, but I do want you to be able to buff your crew to the point where your crew is just swinging their anchors around, having a good old time. Because again, like your crew's sitting at like a +5 on their die roll
yeah.
right now. I think a +6 because you've buffed them, and then if you use like let's see, use your allies. So you can use Seas Ravage Mountains on them in order to help them defeat the or in order to help them get above the defense rating to possibly affect the or to possibly ignore the resistance. Because your crew could possibly knock out another problem, and then you win. Like, you only need one more stress on the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can deal with the currents, we're out. We're done.
All right, so I guess I'll put in the Seas Ravage Mountains to my my guys.
Okay? And then you want to tell your guys to go get on it?
Yes, in the exact words, get on it.
There's a ship-wide aye aye as 20 deckhands, or 20 crewmen all get to work. And they're going to roll their dice.
All right.
And they got a critical hit.
Yes.
And they rolled a 10. 10 plus, just plus their base of 5. That's 15. Going back to the problems. There we go. And you were attacking the currents. Defense is 14, so they beat the defense.
I did it.
Your crew's power is
Nice.
2. Their which goes up to 3, I think, because of one charm, and then I think 4 because of another charm if you're using both of them.
Well, right now I'm using Seas Ravage Mountains.
Okay, so it'll go up to 3,
Okay.
and then plus 3 is 6. So yeah, your crew gets on it, and yeah, what's that? A bunch of mortals solved a problem. They did something.
What?
Yeah, it's almost like mortals are really good to have in this game.
It's almost like having a group of guys to help you is helpful.
Yeah, it's almost like being a lone hero in a world full of cardboard is stupid and boring. Yeah.
What system is this?
Oh,
The Real Exalted.
Yeah, yeah. Screw you, Exalted writers. Not people who play it though. I respect you guys. You. I'm not hating on you all. People who like playing actual Exalted, I don't want to hate on you. I'm just making fun of the designers for the actual game.
Yeah,
I just realized what I should have done is I should have buffed you up, Ark, and I should have just got you to talk the Sea God into not attacking us anymore.
That would have been
You know
great.
Because Trench He is a borderline pacifist.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I should have done. I'm sorry I didn't think of that.
You're making so many mistakes.
I know.
You're so bad at this brand new game that we just made and are playtesting for like the first time. Technically the second time, but you're doing so good.
Well, the first time
Well,
for me.
We survived.
You did.
I'll take that as a
You
win.
yeah, the seas calm down, and the god, still angry, is like shouting at you as you leave and continue on. The rest of the fleet falls in behind you, single file, moving through the carnage that you're making of the reef as you clear a hole like some kind of an ice cutter.
When she starts talking about her, her territory, the flames start to grow larger. This is my reef.
A sea of blood burns and boils in your wake. Everybody has dreams of conquering a sea monster that night. The sea monster is nowhere to be seen. That's a thing that just happens when lunars spend all their essence in our game.
Yeah.
Things disappeared, show up in dreams to teach people a lesson. Don't mess with lunars.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
We survived one more day.
Do we get to recover our essence?
You've defeated the challenge, and so yeah, you recover your virtue channels, your essence, your stress, everything gets healed up because you won. You did it.
Oh, okay. We get our Wait, hang on. We get our virtues back at the end of if we succeed on a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, cool. That's new and interesting, and I like it.
Yeah. The whole point of this system is push forward.
Gotcha.
If you wanted to retreat, you could have said, "Hey, we're changing our goal," but in order to do that, you have to you have to exhaust one of your virtues, and then you basically state a goal that is something along the lines of, "We're going to run away because we don't want to deal with the answer." Like the answer is super bad, and we did not know it would be that bad. Like if the answer was 5 more sea monsters show up and just devour your fleet, you could be like, okay, we are clearly going to lose this, so we're gonna eat a crash, and we're gonna move the goalpost to say, hey, what if most of our fleet ends up running aground somewhere instead instead of being eaten alive. That's totally doable.
Yeah. I also love that instead of having to go through a big thing to kill the one lady, all we really had to do was just leave, because she was clearly tied to this location since this was her thing, and she's totally full of work now because she has to try and fix this mess. This laser cutter through this reef.
The thing is
so she can't follow us. So once we got through,
yeah,
we won.
It promotes not just going in blindly and killing everything. It's like, yes, we could stay and try to fight her, but why?
Yeah.
Unless there's specific motivations, the best thing is to try to get away.
And now I have an NPC to use later.
Oh dear.
It's not always a bad thing. It's
honestly, I feel more sorry for her if she tries to show up again, because
They're like, oh hey, yeah, we know you. You're that person. And she's like, yeah, but don't kill me. Come on, guys.
weren't you that old lady that was yelling at us to get off your lawn?
Well, yeah, but my job is to protect that reef. And you guys clearly destroyed it. You turned it into a canal.
She was attacking us.
But
we destroyed it. All she had to do was come down and ask us to go around it or to go over it.
well, yeah, you say that, but I didn't realize that you could just turn it into a canal. See, now it's a convenient trade route, so I got a promotion, and I have more work for you guys.
Yeah.
Gods are also always looking forward.
Next time I come through there, there'll be toll booths.
You're joking, but yes. Washed Out Dreams is going to be a recurring character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's it. So that was that's our system, or well, yeah, our system. It's been a group effort. Like I've done a lot of like the legwork on like the system stuff, but everybody's been pitching ideas, and they've been really good ideas. So I'm also handing credit back to the rest of the group. I'm really looking forward to telling everybody all about our setting and really showing as well as telling, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is something I already can see some stuff that we need to like mess with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the thing was I think that we need to like create a group problem sheet that's a bit more easy to read because I like there were a few parts where I couldn't really tell what the problems were or what their stats were because like the sheet was a bit hard to read.
Yeah, I'd meant to get on that, but then I ended up getting really tired after work and napping instead, and so that's what I was throwing together while we were kind of getting ready to go. I was like, oh no, I forgot to prep for this.
The other thing is I think we might need to be a little bit better at tracking our conditions. I know I forgot to mention it, so I paid the essence retroactively, but we were all under a negative condition that should have knocked out our highest, or in Jared's case, second highest skill. So we, for example, I would have lost either my Weave Fate or View Divine Record. Now, I retroactively paid to get past that because I have a charm that lets me do that.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden I was thinking, wow, I don't think anybody else tracked that and remembered that was a thing.
I actually did this time because my thing is my protean body got shut off, which ended up lowering my defense a bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
but
since we never got attacked again.
Yeah,
I think
so
that what I might do is just have like give each player like a column, and then have it be like on the problem sheet. So you just scroll up to it to look at it, and you basically just write what your condition is, if you care, because like the actual condition is really just there to kind of color in what's going on.
Honestly, what I'd suggest is instead of it knocking out our individual specialties, I'd instead recommend a flat penalty to either offense, defense, or power, your choice when it gets put in. That way we're not trying to track individual stats, and you've got a little bit more options. Like a problem can target our ability to damage it, our ability to hit it, our ability to defend against stuff.
Yeah,
And we're not tracking, well, this turn I don't have this stat, so I'm going to try to switch stats to slot in this. It's a lot of extra book work for not a lot of gain, I don't feel.
Yeah, okay.
And then, like, for example, my character, he has the adaptable armature, which makes it so that basically, like, his weapon power, the one he uses to stab people, it can never get taken away by anything. So if any of the things do powers, which, like, if they try and give you a condition which is designed to shut down your offense, it just has no effect on my character.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
You don't
Because
have to change the charms or anything, but it would make the math a lot simpler. Because, like, the skeleton of a really fun system is here, but I feel a lot of little fiddly math bits that got irritating to track, and I ended up, like, barely remembering what exactly I was supposed to be doing. Like, again, I'm trying to be overly critical here because I want to make sure that we get this system right.
Oh, definitely.
And,
Yeah.
like, same thing with viewers. Like, I'm pretty sure. Are we going to be releasing the rules with this episode?
no.
Yeah, no.
That rules doc is too
Yeah, it's kind of a mess.
What I strongly recommend here is I actually don't think the math is too bad. I think the problem is doing it on the fly. What I strongly recommend is that we set up ahead of time our standard defenses, attacks, and stuff like that for common situations. So charisma stuff, combat stuff, and problem-solving stuff, for lack of a better name. And we have our 3 defenses pre-calculated for that, and our 3, like, our damage, defenses, and offenses all pre-calculated for that, and just track those 6 numbers. And we can change it around if we, like, need to, but just so that there's no running around trying to go, well, what am I doing here,
What I could do is set up a sheet to just map that. Like,
Yeah, that's what I
so-
was thinking.
So like you put in what your max is, and then like any penalties, I'll just have like a column that's just sum of, and then I can just write like -2, -2, -2 as
Yeah.
problems start to pile up, or as conditions start to pile up.
Yeah, because I don't think the math is bad, and I don't dislike having 3 defense stats. I like that it gives, if somebody tries to talk Jared out of doing something, it's more likely to cause him to stop and hesitate than somebody trying to punch his head off because he's a better fighter than a talker.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But on the other hand, trying to calculate it on the fly is a little bit of a pain. And well,
Yeah. So I could
I
definitely,
can do it. I'd rather not.
yeah, I could definitely make a sheet that just does that. And like I said, it would just be like your stat at the top, and then like under it, just for my convenience, it would just be like
Yeah.
you have -2 for like this. You have -2 for this.
Yeah. So, and I'd recommend that we just preset it up with what we're likely to be using in all situations. Like, I'm guessing that we don't have enough specialties between us that we're going to likely be like, should I choose between charm or diplomacy for dealing damage in social situations? Oh, I wonder.
Yeah, that's
Use your sick burn specialty.
Yeah, like,
I think like the way I see it, once we get like sheets to help track this and maybe work out like the view stuff, I figured that the game should really speed up. Also, one, and this is a minor thing, but with like the situation with us getting through there, it kind of like felt like it just ended. Like it didn't feel like we climactically got out of there. It felt like we were in the middle of it, and then it just stopped. Like it
yeah,
didn't-
I almost feel that we should be trying to solve all problems or something. It's
it's like
leaving some problems unsolved feels kind of weird.
yeah, like there's the lady screaming at us and like doing black tentacles and stuff. Maybe it was like some mechanic, like especially with problems that are physical people. Like
Mhm.
some people, even if the general problem is gone, like let's say your problem is get out of the city. Even once you get out of the city, that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be people who are still going to be chasing you and trying to kill you.
Guards.
Yeah, and it
chase.
didn't feel like we dealt with her. It felt just kind of like the challenge ended. So I guess, oh, where'd she go? I don't
Well,
know. She
It's
stayed there.
it's kind of the idea of like, say you have like a castle that you want to attack, and that castle has really high walls. It has guards on the walls, archers in the towers. There's a wizard, and if you choose to interact with it, there's also a dragon that's flying above head. Defeating the dragon would basically demoralize a lot of those other problems that you're dealing with. So it's like if you defeat the dragon and one of the other problems, everybody else just kind of falls in line.
So here's what I kind of understood about it, just talking to Jared here.
Mhm.
Basically, by the time that we left, we literally stripped her of every single way that she could possibly interact with us. Like, she couldn't hurt us anymore because we killed her monsters, broken her reef, literally turned off her ability to control the area's wind and waves, and and she basically had almost like no other ways of dealing with us. Like, I know that it was narrated as we left, but in a lot of ways I could see that also being narrated as she runs in fear and we could start another challenge if we wanted to hunt her down and kill her.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I right on that?
It's the challenge is ended, but then like how you want to color in the challenge is kind of up to you guys, and we can actually pick up there, like at the end of that. Like, so you guys you go through the storm. Now, how do you want to deal with that? Like, the sea god is there. Do you want to try to talk to her? Do you want to try to like interact with her? Because the challenge is done. Like the threat is over.
Right. Do we want to hunt her down and try to kill her? It might be a challenge, but I bet you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but probably if we wanted to track her down and fight her right now, it might be a find her challenge and then a fairly simple punch her face in because she doesn't have much left, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
she's just right there. Like, she's not a problem anymore. Like, you can kind of do with her as you will. Because, like, I mean,
I don't get the impression she's a combat god. If we want to just butcher her, she can't
Okay.
stop
yeah,
the
like,
to jump a mile straight up from just jumping over to her, grabbing her, and snapping her neck. There's no, she couldn't stop that. Okay, that idea. I didn't quite understand what had happened there,
Mhm.
and this is more something that we need to like. This is getting into the groove of the game. We need to make sure that we're narrating we're narrating the series of events,
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
that it feel like a problem gets dropped.
I loved how we were doing that too. Like, this is what is happening. As this problem is doing a thing, like, as this problem is attacking your ship, this is what it looks like. This is the problem that you're facing. So then you all can say, okay, if that's what the problem is doing, here's what we're going to try to do to fix it.
Also, can I laugh at myself because early on the first problem that we have was lightning, and then I never actually got around to fixing the lightning.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm more just amused. My character's opening. I deal with the lightning.
I was just gonna say that your ship has a lightning rod, and everything's fine because the realm knows how to build ships.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I like what you did better.
I just wanted to show off, and man, I will say I had a lot of fun being like, yes, I'm just gonna slowly make things not bad anymore, and I'm actually just helping out the sailors. Just every now and then I take my hands off, reefing the sails, and I'm just like, yeah, so the waves go away, and sorry.
Yeah, that's fun, and again, I'm enjoying this, and I think that we really have a good.
We had all of our characters have like a type of moment to shine, like, with Nico nearly one-shotting everything and destroying everything. Suslin with being the coolest support type, just stopping lightning and everything, and with Trench is in like creating a massive ring around my boat of fire.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, no, you don't understand. You didn't make a ring of fire around the boat. No.
No, yeah.
Like it was described, the boat burst into flames. Part of the ship, part of the crew, everyone became slightly fire elementally, and just hit the reef. And like there was a sizzling sound, like the 1,000-degree knife challenge.
Everything was going to.
We Mr. Geared through the reef.
It's great.
So this was fun. I liked this.
That was a ton of fun. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun running it too. Like, a lot of times, it could be, a game can feel overwhelming for the GM in this game I'm calling myself the narrator, because it's like, well, how do I handle all these different players doing all these things? But since there literally is no battle mat, like, it is all just theater of the mind. Like, how far does my character run? I don't know. What are you trying to do? Well, I'm trying to run, like, over that mountain. Well, okay. Well, unless you have a charm for that, like, that's going to be a little bit far. But so like, you can't get to that distant problem. But there are plenty of other problems for you to deal with. What are you going to do about them? Like, well, how long does this action take? Like the action that Nico is taking with the sea monster. Like, that could have been a few seconds of just him punching the monster and it biting him back, or that could have just been this extended wrestling match under the water.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because
I like it.
it's the scene goes to him for a second, and that's happening. Meanwhile, it cuts over to you guys. This is happening. When does something defeat it? How long does it take? Well, it doesn't matter. It's just at some point it was a problem, and now it isn't anymore.
Okay, so other issues that I'm seeing that I'm going to bring up once again.
Oh, we should be writing this down.
Yeah, sorry. I mentioned this once before. I'm mentioning it again. I've jumped my defense incredibly low overall. And I believe I only took one more stress. Actually, I took the exact same amount of stress as everybody else who presumably had decent defense overall. And I'm still not entirely sold on that. I don't know. I kind of would like to see that revisited in some way.
Yeah, I need to figure out how I want to affect you guys. Like, I did turn down their offense a little bit. If you look at the chart that I made somewhere, there we go. So, like, I was basically setting the offense as if you had like a defense of 13. So it would need at least a 5 or more to hit you. And indeed, like, one of them did miss. So, like, that was kind of working as normal. But I'm wondering I wonder if it should be like if it beats your defense and it causes like more stress or something. Like the want of being more of a tank should be a thing.
I think it's more the fact is that it's so likely to For me, it's that it's so likely to hit at the default level
Mm-hmm.
that dumping my stat for me as a player doesn't feel like, oh, it's got an 80% chance to hit, versus if I dump my stat 90% chance to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, it's
I could also turn down their offense a little bit, or have like a mix of offenses. Because what I could have also done is had like multiple, like it's gonna do like 3 wind attacks, but they're all gonna be at offense 5. So
Yeah.
at that point, it's like, oh, wait, I probably shouldn't have tanked my defense because this is gonna suck.
yeah, things like that will do a lot more. Like, yeah,
And
the other
it's
idea
fast too.
I was
It's
thinking.
just I roll 3 times, boom, boom, boom. All right, it's the same effect for everybody. Like roll once compared to everybody's thing. This happens. All right. So and then I can just quickly mark it down and then move on to the next.
The other
thing.
way you could do it, and I don't know if this is too much math, but you could make it so it's not a binary thing. So if they beat you by 1, or if they beat you, you take 1 damage. If they beat you by 3, you take 2 damage or something like that, just as a standard thing.
That's doable. Make it like
And
a.
it might make it so that low defense has a meaning of that. Hey, you have low defense. Not only are you going to get hit more often, but now you're also going to take a little bit more damage.
Yeah, I could make like a godbound chart for it. Like
I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but it's just one of the few things that comes to mind.
Yeah, we could.
Don't know if it's
We could play with that idea. I will.
easy way to do it. So if they equal your defense, they hit you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, for every 2 points they beat your defense, they do an extra point of stress. That I think would be the easiest something to test.
I might do it as. I might start it at 3.
Okay, yeah.
Because there are things like what is it? The wind had one where it's when this problem would inflict stress on someone, it inflicts an additional stress.
Yeah, I don't actually get that. Why didn't you just say it does 2 stress?
Because if it inflicts, if there's I was leaving it as like a placeholder for the future, where if I wanted a problem to deal more than 1 stress on a hit, then like I could also tack that on to just deal an additional stress if it like
Okay.
does something.
Sorry, it was just from player perspective, it was just a little bit weird.
Yeah, or it's what is it? It's some problems might have things that are like other problems deal more stress, and so
that makes sense.
It keeps it from being an exponential thing because
gotcha.
that would suck. It's all right. It hits you. Take 8 stress. Oh, well, okay.
Ow.
Yeah, all right. I'm just gonna exhaust one of my virtues here and put myself halfway to the next crash. Okay. Oh, it's going again. Great. Okay. Well, I guess on the bright side, it would make you guys stop taking your defenses. There are no.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. No, that was fun. That was really, really fun overall.
Yeah, because in Godbound, I also like the idea of like, yeah, there's a bunch of monsters. And they all have there's like a bunch of monsters, like 20 of them, and it's okay. I'm gonna roll them in a dice roller, and it's super binary whether they hit or not because they all do like 1d6 straight damage. It's like, oh no, but they also only all have like +2 to hit.
My character has pretty poor stats, pretty poor defenses everywhere except for physical because, like, he kills people. He's not the philosophic debater of the group. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't do arguments. His reaction to, like, someone trying to debate him is to just ask the captain to deal with it because that's, like, he doesn't argue with people. That's not his thing unless the captain wants the argument to be a fist argument. But the thing is, I noticed this, I don't really, like, it doesn't feel like there's any difference between the stats that I have almost no defense in and the stats that I have high defense in. Like, I have 4 more defense and physical, I guess, but even then I didn't, like, it didn't feel like that was meaningful because the enemies were rolling so high that it felt like they might as well have hit every round. Like, they might as well just have auto hit with the way the math was working. That's at least what it felt like. Like, it didn't feel like I was blocking their attacks at all. It just felt like they were, like, hitting me the same rate as everyone else.
I have no idea about this thing because I was never in combat, so.
I do think that the damage chart will make it feel more like you're blocking attacks, because like if you actually have a pretty good defense and you're only taking like 1 stress and you're just like healing that stress as you're taking it, with the endure charm,
Yeah.
then like that might let somebody feel like they're staying in the fight. I mean, you also got chomped on by that sea monster, and that was supposed to be like a brutal attack. But it also only hit 3 times. Like, if your defense had been 1 less, then it would have hit a 4th time. And then,
God.
in the future, for a sea monster like that, I would probably give it something more like 20 stress.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then, maybe even like a resistance of like 3. I don't want to go too high on resistance. That's the thing, because I don't want to like force crits. But there will be some problems. Like if you're fighting like a greater drag, like the version of the Kukla, which we won't use that name because that's a licensed trademark name and a very cool NPC, by the way. I'll speak kindly of that. I like the story of the Kukla. It's this awesome dragon that when you wake it up, it basically is like a world-ending event. It's a nightmare. Don't do it, players. Respect your storyteller's world. Don't make up the Kukla. But
Hey guys, guess what we should do this in Godbound? Or in Exalted? You know what our end goal should be?
wake up the dragon. Wake up the world dragon.
Wake it up and then eat it.
We're gonna feed the world serpent its own tail. This is gonna be great. All right. Well, the world serpent has 20 resistance. Oh, it also has a another thing that says like, even if you crash it, it still gets half of its, or even if you crit it, it still gets half of its resistance. I'm gonna add that right now.
We can still kill it. I think we could still kill it. Let me at it. Let me at it. Actually, I'm not joking. I think we could deal damage to it. I don't think we could kill it.
We can kill it right now.
I've got one of my super charms, which I didn't get a chance to test, basically allows me to combo attacks with other people and add my damage to their damage for the purposes of dealing it, which helps overcome resistance.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So yeah, basically the idea is that it's really expensive. It's 5 essence and a virtue. I basically costed it as super expensive because of what it does. But we both get, when they make their attack, we both get to roll attack. And then if one of us hits, we both add our damage together and deal damage as if it was one big thing. So in theory, that could push about 20 damage at once. And if one of us crit against the World Serpent, hey, we might get 10 damage past its resistance. Which would probably just make it annoyed.
Alright. Extreme resistance. Type supplemental. If hit by a critical hit, reduce the stress taken by half of the problem's resistance. Take 10 off of that.
We do 20 damage, take 10 off. We still do 10 damage to the World Serpent. What does it do? It eats you. But no, it eats you.
It deals way too much. But like there are problems like that where like it's like that problem then becomes like a challenge, but those challenges are it's you generally know when you're going up against that. It's like, oh, that's just a wall of storms. Like a hurricane on ground level. Yeah, no, let's not sail into that. That's just going to be a nightmare. Like, so what's the answer to that? Well, I don't want to end the game, but you're going to lose your ship, and your crew's not going to be happy because you're all going to be stranded on an island and have to deal with that challenge. And then,
yeah.
and then poor Nico is going to be like, but I can't stab us off of the island.
You'd be surprised.
The thing is, it depends on the distance, but Nico, actually, there is one thing Nico can do. Nico can jump stupid distances.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. He has a charm specifically that he built for jumping over mountains and stuff.
Awesome.
So, if there's like a distant, if there's like an island far off in the distance we can barely see, Nico might be able to jump back and forth and take people to the other islands.
I mean, that would be awesome. I'd be on board. I'd be like, okay, that's cool.
I love that though, because like the charms also allow for you need a narrative explanation of how you're able to interact with the problem. So even if if you were just letting straight attacks of every single problem, then there would be there wouldn't be a problem we couldn't interact with. But if there's a problem that's like, okay, this person's ethereal and you have no idea where they are, you can't affect it until you figure out where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Then like we need to come up with a way to allow us to attack it to begin with, and then you can start dealing with the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In the rules, I do want to start making a list of like examples of like different themes, and also I definitely want to make different specialties. Like I'm glad that your specialties, Jack, did touch on things like weaving fate, because specialties aren't just like physical things your character does or social things. It's also like your magic. Like my character has a specialty for exorcisms. I'm good at controlling spirits. I don't know.
I'm gonna be a
I can
little
talk
bit.
to animals.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little bit worried that my weave fate is a little bit too broadly applicable, but we'll see. And if it turns out to be causing problems, we'll work on that.
Yeah. Like you could define it, and that's the idea. Is like, if there's a specialty that comes up and it's a little bit too broadly written, then that would be a time for me as the narrator and you as the player, and even the rest of the group to say, okay, well, what do we want this thing to do? Like, let's define it, and then just leave a sentence after it. Like that's fine. You can say like, this is the one word, so that everybody knows what I'm using. This is what it means, though.
Yeah.
So you don't just say like, I'm awesome. That's my specialty. I'm awesome. Okay, well, what does that do? Well, I do things awesomely. I do everything awesomely. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So does that look awesome, or?
Yeah. No, I totally get that, and I'll try to be fairly. I'll try to keep it down, my use of it down as much as I can. It just in this one, I wanted to be able to interact with things a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Definitely.
know. We shall see.
Yeah, but I think that's about good for tonight, though. We got a lot done. I don't want to give Ark too much work.
Dear Lord.
But yeah, this is.
Sorry.
Oh.
I thought it was. I liked this episode, or the game we just did, and I'm really optimistic about how this game is going to be going.
Mhm.
Really.
I want to figure out how to include other like smaller things. Like I already have small problems, and I think that small problems could also come into play where during just role playing a problem just comes up and I just say, hey, like make a roll, and then if you succeed on the roll, then like cool, you dealt with it. But if you fail on the roll, then you just happen to like fail to do that one thing, and then it creates a small problem for the upcoming challenge.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I really like the 2d6 system. Because it's so simple. You just roll 2d6, and I think with a little bit work to the attributes and specialties, I think it can be a really good type of system.
Yeah.
This has been the inaugural episode of our actual play for the campaign that shall heretofore be called The Trip to the West. A completely original story for the newest grand campaign.
And I am Jarrett. I've been playing Nico.
I'm Ark, and I've been playing Trench.
And I'm Jack. I've been playing Sussland.
And this is the Podcast Cast, signing off.